Reggae Interviews. Word sound power.
This is DJ 745 for Reggae Interviews alongside a 3-time Grammy-winning group, Morgan Heritage. They have just released their latest album, The Homeland. I want to give a big welcome to Mr. Mojo and Peetah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You guys seem to be here, there and everywhere. The Grammy Museum, France, Uganda, Ghana, and right now we're at Punch Records HQ in Birmingham.
Yeah, man. Well, we have a new album that is very different. So in order for us to truly make sure that people like yourself is playing the music and is writing about the music, we have to go out and do things that we did in the early days. We have to come from scratch and treat it like it's a brand new project. We can't rest on our reputation and achievements to think that just because we've done this in the past that you're supposed to, support us today. So we thank you for having us.
I still remember the time when I first met the whole family at the Inner Heights tour.
Yes, sir.
December 1997, the Wembley Hilton.
97. We just had a conversation about that the other day.
Wow.
97.
97,
exactly.
Yeah.
Are you choosing sides? Are you gonna side with the Black Viking?
Absolutely.
Don't do it.
100%.
It's all about the African star.
Yeah, I still remember though. It was I think it was Jamali, yourselves, and Buju.
That's right.
And we were all kind of like locked away in this conference room upstairs in the Hilton, and I was kind of like, I want to talk to this group, Morgan Heritage, that have just come on the scene in the last couple of years, and I'm inspired by the music that I'm hearing.
Give thanks.
So and it's good that 25 years on, we can still do the same thing.
Here we
are.
Beautiful journey. Did you have more hair back then? Did you have more hair?
I did.
Yeah,
and I'll show you a picture.
I saw it.
All right, look, let's dive straight into this new album. It's a massive album fusing the sounds of Jamaica and Africa.
Yes, sir.
21 tracks. Now, for me, that is a big number for a Morgan Heritage album.
Most definitely.
A lot.
Most definitely.
Excessive. Yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of feels like, I don't really feel that you could have left anything off the album, having listened to it. I mean, okay, it doesn't follow the traditions of previous projects. The last album, of course, was Loyalty. And I don't know, this album, it's got like a completely different feel to it. Totally. It's not a reggae album, it's a world music album.
Yes, sir.
What was the concept behind that?
Well, there was no real concept when we started working on the album. We started working on this maybe 4 years ago, 5 years max. And, during our travels through Africa, we'd go to different countries and find the local style there and, try seek them out and do combinations with them. This journey started a long time ago with Youssou N'Dour in 2008. It was revived again with Diamond Platinums in about 2016. And from there on, we just started getting more involved with the community, the African music community across Africa. And through the pandemic, we worked on the album last year when our dad passed away. We went into overdrive in finishing this album, and that's when it really took shape. And it's like I said, we've never done anything outside of reggae before. So it was challenging for us, which we always want to challenge ourselves. We don't want to be complacent, like Mojo said, and just rest on your reputation. We wanted to do something that was challenging for us, and we wanted to give it our best shot. And so we decided to do a world music album featuring African music.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, on the last album, I think that that's where we had Africa, Jamaica, and we kind of had a bit of a teaser or taster of this could be a direction that the Heritage family are going towards.
Yes.
But,
yes, definitely.
This album, though, it's almost like you've opened up this big box and you've kind of spilt out so many genres within African music.
Yes.
African music is so much more than just Afrobeats, which is the one that everyone gravitates to.
Right.
Mr. Mojo, give us a little bit of a lowdown on some of the different genres that are featured on The Homeland.
So we tap into bongo flavor, we tap into the Sebin guitars from the Congo region, we tap into Amapiano, we tap into the ancient sound of the Baifal from Senegal, and Afro House is also, on songs like Can You Feel It? We tap into the ancient sounds of Ethiopia on that same song. So there's a lot of fusion happening even within the sounds of Africa that we display on this album. And we are happy when people like yourself really dive into the music. We can tell that you took time to get into the music, and we appreciate that.
There are so many different artists that are featured on this album. I mean, I think I lost count. I think I got to like 25, collabs.
30 plus.
30 plus. I lost count then.
Is the final number.
How do you feel that the artists within the different genres have learned from each other working together on this project? So as an example, if we were to sort of like, maybe look at an artist like Shatta Wale versus maybe, I don't know, Octane. How do you think that, the various artists have kind of like fused together, learning about each other's respective genres?
I mean, the Jamaican music scene has penetrated Africa for decades. It's nothing new, because our origin is from Africa. The heartbeat of our music, you can trace it back to Africa, and you can't forget our DNA goes back to Africa. So with this album, it's like we're activating a dormant code that is written in us as black people in the West and Europe. And the influence has been felt in African music for quite a long time. When you take Afrobeats, for example, as a genre, it's inspired by Afrobeat, pioneered by Fela Kuti, but then they brought in hip-hop, R&B, reggae, and dancehall. They were singing in your Yoruba, in the late 90s with a Jamaican accent, right? So it's nothing new. When we first discovered Jose Chameleon, it was at a concert in Kenya, and we thought it was Beenie Man or Bounty Killer walking into the venue. The man have on all white, tall white boots. We was like, this man are going like Bounty. So the style, the fashion, the culture has been emulated for quite some time now. And I don't think it's any secret, and there's no star from Africa today that's gonna say they weren't influenced by the Jamaican music scene. And we're inspired by how they're able to take these simple melodies and fun messages and captivate the world. I think we as Jamaicans should take a note from that, because we had that at one time. When Shabba say ting-a-ling-a-ling, school bell ring, knife and fork, a fight for dumpling. Like, we are talking about, brethren. It sounded like a nursery rhyme, but it was a global smash hit record.
It worked.
So let's go back to things that people can engage with beyond our daily experiences. And I think Jamaican music today, dancehall music especially, is reflective of the life in our neighborhoods. So it doesn't have the global appeal that Afrobeats has today.
True. I mean, talking of the collabs on the album, it feels like you've got a really good balance of some of the legends and people that I'm going to call the future legends as well.
That's right.
From both continents as well, I have to add.
Right.
So, it's not just Morgan Heritage working with artists from the homeland, Africa. There's a really good mix of, we've got the Capleton, Shaggy's, Alpha Blondy,
Yes.
Rocky Darouni, Busy Popcaan.
Yes.
How did you actually sort of like compile that list of collabs, or how did it come about? Was it a Morgan Heritage song in its own right, and then did you decide we want to put a little bit of spice or flavor onto it?
I mean, the songs, we created all the songs before we even seeked out a feature. We made the song talk for itself. So after hearing the song that we'd create or the song that we'd write, it would say, this is who's needed on it. Musical language. When we listen back to ourselves, and you can't hear who fit what. And I think we did a good job of hearing who fits on what song.
True.
So, it all worked out.
Yeah. I mean, like, if we look at the lead single, who they're like you, Stoneboy, Bounty Killer, and Sham, that's never been heard before. It's like, what I sort of feel in music at the moment is that we're hearing these combinations that are unexpected.
Yes, I'm happy you pointed that out. Another one is with Shaggy and Beenie Man.
Yep.
Like we can't recall. I mean, we were talking to another DJ a few days ago, and he was like, I'm really good at this, and I can't recall Shaggy and Beenie Man on one song together. So we're happy that we could bring something new to the table while reinventing ourselves with this new sound and presenting ourselves in a new light, creating new fans, in different places all around the globe. And that's what it should be about. You should be able to take your fan base, bring them to new places.
Yes.
And expand your audience. And we believe that with the Homeland, we're going to be able to achieve that eventually. Slowly but surely.
Well, I think you say slowly but surely, but I know that the album's already top charts already,
Crazy.
even though it's only been a few weeks since it was released.
Unbelievable.
So it's gaining attention.
I think today is made a
1 week, exactly.
You know, and for us to be there at the top of the charts in over 20 countries, it's truly unexpected. It brought tears to my eyes release day when I started to get the messages from our distributor 1RPM, Large Up Malika and Martin over there and Ronnie, the whole team, for really believing in this vision. You know, before we had, I think maybe we had 5 features on the album at the time. And they're like, okay, we love you guys, go ahead. And they stuck by us through the pandemic, no pressure. Because we should have delivered this album in 2020.
Right.
And it took three more years to get it to where it is now. So we're grateful for the reception, we're grateful for the journey, and we're grateful for the opportunity to continue to make music that people can enjoy all around the world.
True. Musically, I know that we live in a very digital sort of age and digital studios where, you know, you might do a portion of a song, send it over as a file to another artist. Were any of the collabs on the album actually recorded together in the studio?
Yes, we have a few of them that, you know, Mojo was in the studio with Beenie, I was in the studio with Busy, and, you know, and Shaggy as well. So there's been quite a few of them that we were in studio. The song with Japreza, we were in studio together in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
With Ice Queen Cleo and Mádé Kuti, we were in studio together in Zambia. So, you know, we worked with the old format and the new format.
Yeah. And in terms of, like, you know, the collabs, I feel that, you know, as a family, you've always worked with what I'm going to call the future legends. Even if we go back to the family and friends compilations,
That is right.
the liberation rhythms and so forth, you've always kind of, like, you know, sort of tapped into working with the up and coming artists as well.
So on this album, to that point, you're going to find a lot of associate producers, simply because there's artists that was just not on our radar, like Otile Brown. As much time as we spent in Kenya because of the pandemic, we never heard of him, but he rose throughout the pandemic and became the #1 streaming artist in our you know. Shout out to Bilha from 1RPM East Africa. She was like, you guys got to work with a Kenyan this time. And we're like, okay, cool. We love South to Soul. She's like, yeah, they're great. And we want to see that collaboration. But Otile Brown's the guy right now. So, you know, our marketing guy in East Africa, OPP, linked up his manager, Noriega, and we all worked together to make it happen. And he was just such a joy to work with. So professional, humble, hardworking. It was 2 days didn't pass and he sent back the vocals.
Wow.
And the response today is like amazing. It's if there was some songs that we say could be weaker than the next, right? You have albums like that. That's one of the songs we didn't know if it was going to become a big record beyond Kenya, because it's in Swahili. Yes. Or outside of East Africa. And when we check the social media posts, how people are vibing to that song and the things they're saying, masterpiece, and oh, it takes me away, and oh, it makes me feel so good, you truly don't know how people are going to respond to your music. So it's better you just put your best foot forward, put your all into it, and hope that people like it.
Well, I think the album itself, it comes off to a really strong start, and this is something that I think is a bit of a pattern with all the Morgan Heritage albums. That track 1, and this time you've called on the Brothers and Sisters Arts Organisation.
Yes, sir.
I don't know, it kind of grabbed me as soon as I listened to it. It kind of made me feel, I want to hear what track 2 is, what track 3 is. Was that intentional?
Well, it was not intentional. But when Gramps found it on Instagram and shared it with Peter and I, we all immediately said, that is the vibration that's going to welcome everyone to the Homeland. And exactly what you felt is what we felt. We just struggled to recreate it. So we ended up just using the audio from that Instagram post and worked with one of our co-producers of the album, Jussa the Mentor from Zimbabwe, and created a sound that we felt embodied the whole entire album. Something that could captivate an audience and make you, even though you don't know what the person is saying, make you really dive into the essence and the energy of the music and the vocal performance.
I want to rewind back a moment, because you just said it's something that we found on Instagram. Share with us a little bit about Finding Brothers and Sisters Arts Organisation. Who are they?
They are a choir, an Mbube choir from South Africa.
Okay.
Cape Town to be specific. And they go out into the street and they sing, these hymns. Now, Mbube is a choral hymn, a Zulu choral hymn, mostly songs of mourning, and they use it to comfort them. It's a lot of females in the choir, so they use it as a song of comfort for them because of the rise of GBV, which stands for gender-based violence. And that's an issue not only in South Africa, not only on the continent of Africa, but across the world, that people are victim to domestic violence. So when they shared that significant meaning of what it means to them with us, the song took on a whole new meaning. I was visiting South Africa promoting Who They Like You and the upcoming album, and one of the members of the team said, this song really relates to the Hector Peterson story. I'm like, okay, who's Hector Peterson? It's a kid that got shot during the Soweto uprising, which was a peaceful protest that the kids were protesting against, being taught in Afrikaans. This is 1976, June 15th, and the sister was running next to a stranger that picked him up, and it became an iconic photo. And she was running, screaming, "They killed my brother," because Bambulele means you killed my mother. Right, and the rest of the lyrics goes on to say, "What has she done wrong? Now I'm here alone with no one to turn to. You killed my mother." So he was able to connect the loss of a loved one to the pain that the sister felt in that iconic photo of the dead body of Hector Peterson being carried by a complete stranger. You know what I mean? Bringing him back to his mother. And like, he said, "I'm not a hero. I'm doing what any..." There's inscriptions at the Hector Peterson Memorial in Soweto where he spoke, and he said, "I'm not a hero. I'm doing what any decent man that was a witness to the tragedy that day would have done."
Right.
So for us, it has become a symbol of future Africa, new Africa, and how we should embrace technological partnerships and innovation that advance Africa, not take away from Africa and leave it to just rot and fade away without any development. So you can look at some of these people and say bad things, but at the end of the day, when we flew through Addis Ababa the other day, that airport was on the level of any European or American airport. Better than probably all the Caribbean airports that we've traveled to. And I'm being completely honest, and that was Africa. So let's stay on that path and continue to reject the wrongdoers and embrace those that come to help us elevate.
No, I get that. I hear that. I mean, in the past, many reggae artists, they've echoed the words of Marcus Garvey singing about going back to Africa. And when I sort of look back at your sort of back catalogue, even as far back as the Protectors Jah album, Africa, Here We Come, the last album before the Homeland, Loyalty, Africa, We Say, you've actually kind of done what you're actually singing about, which is something that a lot of people in this world will not necessarily get a chance to do.
This is true, and we're grateful for it. You know what I mean? As Rastafari children growing up in the Western world, our father instilled a strong value for Africa in us through the faith of Rastafari. So growing up, doing music and these type of journeys that we've been on throughout our lives, it's just in line with what we've been chosen to do, and we're grateful that we're able to manifest that while we're here and alive. You know what I mean?
Share with our viewers some of those memories that go through your mind today of that very first time you touched on African soil on the Ivory Coast for that tour, way back in the 90s, I guess.
95. December 95. One of the most memorable moments for us, because our dad we just acquired the estate in Jamaica, so he was building that. Our Uncle G, just being the rebel that he is in the family, walks across the highway, because the street, even then, the roads in Africa, they were 4-lane highways. And this wasn't even the highway. This was just the main road in front of the hotel. Walks across it, and he pulls me along with him, and we're walking through the little district looking for authentic African food. And he found it And I didn't eat it, but he found some goat stew. He's like, wait, I eat curry goat. So he found goat stew, cooked, Ivory Coast style, and some sort of like plantain. It was a pounded plantain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? And that was actually very delicious. Surprisingly. And it was just his free will and free spirited approach to being in Africa, and the empowerment that he felt touching the soil. It was inspiring, and it's a memory that lives with us till this day and continues to guide us to go out there. Especially me, I spend a lot of time in Africa, extended periods. A month in Senegal, 6 months in Nigeria, 7 months in Kenya, and it's something that we should all try to do. I think Grandpa makes reference to the pilgrimage that the Jewish community makes.
Yes.
That they, no matter where they are in the world, they encourage their children and children's children to go home. We want to use the homeland to encourage children of the diaspora to go home and fulfill the charge put upon us by the mayor of Gorée Island when we first visited Senegal, that gave us an ambassadorship to the children of the diaspora to encourage your counterparts to come home, visit Africa, because they took the best out of Africa. They didn't take weak slaves in the transatlantic slave trade. So that power, strength, innovation, it's in the DNA. When you see how many black inventors there were throughout the history of mankind that made some of the most commonly used things today that we don't get credit for. The microphone, the telephone, all these different things. So let's bring that innovation that has been passed on to us through our lineage back home to Africa.
Talking of children, we have some of the children of the Heritage family featured on the album as well. There's a track called I Will Never Forget. How does it feel to actually be working with some of the next generation? So I know that Jamari and Esh Morgan are featured on that song. How does it feel?
It feels good because they give us hope that everything is going to be all right. And they are prepared to step into these big shoes left by their grandfather and what we are leaving behind for them to carry on and build upon, a foundation second to none. We always look at the Marley children, our family, and say, we're very proud of you guys, because you guys took what one man did and, as 7 brothers, just went across the globe and expanded on it. And, whatever they do as entrepreneurs, it doesn't mean that it's going to be successful, but they do it together. Yeah. Right? So we're encouraging our children because it's not one person. It's multiple people with multiple families. So we're telling them, you guys have better odds.
True.
So don't mess this up.
And I think also when I sort of listen to the Homeland album, the range of sort of like artists that are also featured, I think it also helps for connecting the album with different generations. So as an example, a grandparent can listen to the album, a grandchild can listen to it together with the grandparent, because
100%.
That's the way that the album's designed.
Yeah, man. Legends work with legends. That's the saying. That's our slogan for this album. Existing legends, future legends. Because when you take a Alpha Blondy and put him with a Capleton, there's kids in Jamaica that don't know who Alpha Blondy is, but because Capleton is on the song, they're gonna listen to the song. And now they've been introduced to a legendary reggae artist from Africa.
Yes.
So thank you for pointing that out, and I hope that the fans enjoy this synergy that we created with the different artists featured and the range,
yes,
the generational gap, between them.
Talking of videos, we've had 2 videos so far. The most recent one was for a song called Just a Number. It's a really powerful song, which I think is really sort of like, to me, it almost comes across as like a bit of a warning to rising TV, sports, film stars, entertainers that,
creatives.
You can have it today, but it might be gone tomorrow if you're not careful.
Unfortunately, that is the reality of the culture, the cancel culture that we're living in. So talent development needs to be upgraded. The curriculum of talent development needs to be upgraded and implemented effective immediately, because kids are becoming superstars literally that fast, overnight. So we have to find a way to prepare them for the consequences from things that they say or things that they do. It doesn't matter if you want to be a iconic figure or you want to be a role model. You are influential because of the success. And because of the success of the entertainment and the creative space in the world, it comes with fame, unfortunately. So by highlighting that, we're just bringing awareness for the next generation. We can't change those that have fell victim to cancel culture, and we're not here to take sides or even have an opinion on those that fell victim to cancel culture. It's more of an awareness that you got next. Here's the reality. Don't be a product of what these people went through, right? Create your own destiny if you're aware.
If you were.
Yeah.
That song was produced by Remus, XTM Nation, the son of the late Philip Fatis Burrell, somebody that you worked with
A lot.
You know, Roots and Culture, Bubble in the Struggle,
Yeah, man.
Get on Board. What was it like working with Remus?
It was a joy. I mean, it's just like working with his father. You know what I mean? He's carrying on his father's legacy as we are with our father's legacy. And Remus is a talented young youth. He has vision and he has drive. So, you know, when we see that in the youth, we always want to welcome that and be a part of that.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that's the thing that I'm sort of like, you know, sort of seeing more and more now is that, you know, we're seeing different generations of musical families all interconnecting and working together. And I think it's a joy to help to develop and grow the music further.
And it's an honor too, you know. When we were on set, his brother was the BTS cameraman.
Okay.
And Gramps was, you know, just sharing his joy to see him outside of music and encouraging him that go all the way with this, because everybody's not going to come and be a musical producer or a musician or an artist or a songwriter. There's other things that we can do to strengthen the different industries.
Yes.
Because the film industry is one industry, but I'm in the music industry. Hey, come direct my video for me. Now we're growing together. And I don't got to pay $50,000 for a video because you're my brother. So just take $5,000 and get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think, you know, I mean, we've got to big up, you know, what Remus is doing. I think that song itself is part of a rhythm project as well. Yeah. Something we don't see so much of nowadays in music, but the special request rhythm. Other artists, there's Diani, Medicine, and it's a really strong project. So, yeah, we've got to give props to the work he's doing.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Reflecting on 2024, that's going to mark 30 years since Morgan Heritage released their debut album, Miracles. I'm kind of making you guys sound old now, aren't I?
No, you're just highlighting the legacy.
Right.
We don't really take time to look back at what we achieved, and the pandemic gave us the opportunity to do that. Hence the reason why we dropped the legacy, not the best of, because we have a lot more music
to come
in us to come, a lot more music that we created. But when we say legacy, it's to highlight what we achieved thus far.
Yes.
And to show you guys that if we did this in this short time, imagine what we're going to do in the next 20 years. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah. I know that, you know, coming up, we've got a world tour. You're going to be at various festivals, including what I kind of almost see as a bit like a homecoming, 2023 July Sumfest.
Yes, it's been over 10 years. We haven't touched that platform, and we want to send special love to the whole Down Sound crew and Mr. Bogdanovich for welcoming us with open arms and giving us the opportunity to come home with the Homeland and share, you know, all that we've been doing over the last 10 years with the people of Jamaica, and for the world, for the people that will be traveling to Jamaica.
Well, look, I really want to give thanks to the both of you for spending some time talking to Reggae Interviews about this brand new album, The Homeland,
Yes.
which I know is out there on all digital streaming platforms. Are we going to see physical copies as well?
Physical copies are coming, CDs and vinyl are loading. More content is coming. Who They Like Your music video and single was released with Stonebwoy, Baby Sham and Bounty Killer. Did very well. Still doing well, still growing. We have a new video for the new single, Ready, featuring Shatta Wale, Jose Chameleon and RJ the DJ. We're active on social media, so follow us at Morgan Heritage, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and we'll be launching a challenge this is probably going to be our biggest challenge today. We've done a few, but this one is called the Boom Boom Challenge.
The Boom Boom Challenge?
Yes, man.
Okay.
It's going to be on our TikTok, Morgan Heritage Official, and with us and Shatta Wale, kicking it off very shortly with the video, because there's a stereotypical type of women that people enjoy seeing in the music video. Slim, curvy, you know, and all that stuff. Belly flat like a William Penny. But there is a wave of body shaming and self-awareness that the more fluffy women and the more voluptuous women are now starting to have that confidence. So we want to get on that and continue to encourage them to not be afraid to just be proud of how God made you. You know, if you want to lose weight for your health reasons, great, but don't do it because someone said you're fat or you're not sexy. And in the video, these big ladies, they really show that they can keep up with these young girls and use their boom boom to get them out of the way. And so it's a challenge of expression, female expression. So we're calling on the plus size ladies only for this one.
So some of our viewers watching today, something to look out for on Morgan Heritage Official on the TikTok.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, final question then to close the interview today. There's going to be people out there that maybe haven't actually heard the album as yet. What is the one thing that you want the people that are listening to your album to get?
It's an uplifting feeling and a sense of self-awareness. Just when we say the homeland, it could be anyone's homeland. It could be India for the Indians, China for the Chinese, Africa for the Africans, Europe for the Europeans. So wherever your homeland is, just feel proud about it and accept it, and encourage others around you to love and accept their homeland. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, look, Mr. Mojo, Peetah, I want to give thanks to you both for sharing some thoughts on the new album, The Homeland, and we look forward to seeing you over in Jamaica in July.
Thank you.
Give thanks. One love.
Blessings.
Reggae Interviews. Word Sound Power.